Rambam. Okay, back to Rambam. So we read this halakha yesterday and had a few observations, but I want to go into a little bit more. This is in Hilchos Matnos 7:9. Ani she'eno rotze likach tzedakah, a poor person who does not want to accept tzedakah, ma'arimin alav. We cunning him, right? We apply cunning to him. V'nosnim lo l'shem matana or l'shem halva. I think you have to read the vav as by, not and. We do cunning. Act with cunning by giving it to him as a gift or as a loan. Okay, so do you remember what your question was yesterday?
Can you collect the loan?
Oh, can you collect it? Yeah, so I looked for an answer. I think I found an answer to that. Hold on. Oh, so first of all, let's review what we said. We said that, no. All right. Did we say anything?
Orma versus Irma.
Yeah, we did say that Orma is when you're doing it in a mutter way, Mirma is when you're doing it in a non-mutter way. That was what I misread. Okay, then so let's just look at the Arach Shulchan. So Arach Shulchan says on this, nope. Where is it?
Isn't all tzedakah a gift?
No, it's justice.
Sure, but the way in which you give it, like.
Yeah, but halachically, it's a gift is something that is done without obligation, and tzedakah is an obligation. Yeah. So ani she'eno rotze l'kabel tzedakah. So a poor person who does not want to receive tzedakah, v'yadanu shu mukhrach l'kach, and we know that he needs it, like he's like he's in a dire situation, I guess. Anachnu mechuyavim l'his amitz shikabel. We are obligated to pressure him to accept it. So that's level one. Okay, so we pressure him to accept it. V'im kol zeh. And if with all that, he still doesn't want to, shrichim lasos imo harama. Then we need to do trickery with him. We give it to him as a gift, not as a tzedakah. If he doesn't want that, we give it to him as a loan, and then we don't collect it from him. And it turns out that if he does insist on paying it, but if he doesn't have the ability, then we don't accept the repayment. So it sounds like from there that if he wants to repay it, then he can, but we don't collect it. And if we know that he's going to put himself in financial straits again, then we don't accept the payment from him. So that's the closest I can find to your answer from the normal sources. Okay, so then we went to the second case, which the Rambam says, "V'ashir hamari ves atzmo ve'ino tzara b'mamono shlo yochel mimeno v'lo yishteh." A rich person who starves himself and is stingy about his own money to the point where he doesn't eat and doesn't drink, then we don't pay attention to him at all. And we raised the made the observation yesterday that we see that psychological needs for the guy who used to be rich and became poor, those psychological needs register in de machsoro, that you have to restore him to his wealth. But this guy, the fact that he has some sort of neurotic relationship with his own money does not register as a need. And we don't, that's not going to cause him to, it's not going to register as, since this guy can't bring himself to spend money, then he needs money. We don't go that far,
Is there any Aniyim in helping him with his neuroses?
Probably from a ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha standard thing, but not from a tzedakah thing. Yeah, which is also interesting, by the way, that so far we've only seen tzedakah in terms of money and goods, right? There is, I feel like people talk about a concept of tzedakah with helping people in other ways, but yeah, so certainly in the realm of chesed would not be the case, right? The question is that even in the realm of tzedakah? So we'll just keep an eye on that question. Yeah. Okay, so then let's just look at the Aruch HaShulchan for that. He says, "Aval lahevech," but if it's the opposite, "Ashir kilaya she'eno tzar b'mamono," a rich person who's stingy, who's doesn't want to spend his money, who's miserly about his money, umariv atmo v'eno ochel, and he starves himself and doesn't eat. But we don't pay attention to him. But yelach b'siklusa, let him go in his own foolishness. V'nir li d'imhu chole machmas ravon, but if he is sick because of his starvation, then we feed him the notlin mimenu bal korcho. Sounds like we take money from him to spend on his own food, right? Meaning he's not spending, he has money, but it sounds like we basically make him spend his own money by force to feed himself. Yeah. So that's how we help him, right? Not getting psychological help necessarily, but yeah. Do you have a question? No. Okay. So we good for that?
I think that would break the roast, you don't know.
Say again?
In the sense of like he's worried that if he spends this money, he's not going to have what to be left over. So if you force him to spend money and show him like, oh look, you're still alive after all that. Like, it might
If
help.
only it were that easy. If only it were that easy, right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, by the Rambam's logic, then that's the derech, right? That you force him to act in the other thing until, right? But I feel like we know that that's not the case now, or we know better methods. Yeah.
I don't think that's sort of that this person's crazy. Like, let's say he's an 80-year-old, has some deathly illness where he could either spend all of his fortune trying to heal himself and then die afterwards a month later, or he could just want to die a month earlier and leave more for his kids.
What does that have to do with this though?
As in the next case, he's refusing to spend his own money to help heal himself because he just doesn't.
But he's trying to get money from tzedakah though. That's the thing, right? Is that he I mean, that's the context here, right? Is that I mean, that's how the Archon introduces as the opposite, meaning he's still trying. We have a poor person who needs but doesn't want to take, and you have a rich person who doesn't need but wants to take. That guy we don't cater to. Yeah. So your case is a good case, just not related to this. I think I saw someone else though. Someone say another thing I wanted to point out was that the Red Vase.
I thought you were saying that it went on the left when that was forcing the spending money.
Is that what you were going off of? Forcing him to spend his money?
It's more like just a case where it doesn't seem totally crazy. Like,
right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Look, I mean, the specific case you gave is very complicated, right? In terms of like end of life stuff. But yeah, there are other cases where like, this is this guy's own decision to whether to spend money or not. We don't, in other words, we don't go into, okay, let's say you have a person who has some sort of mental illness. I don't think we just go in and then force them to spend their own money to like get them into medical care. Like, we say that that's their own decision, unless maybe they're incapacitated or something like that.
But I mean, it seems like not, because we're not bringing it down as with caveating, but we wouldn't need like Catholic resident Hefker in this case. So since you invoke that in order to use the guy's money.
So I don't know, because in the next halacha might raise that question about the mechanism we use. The Aruch Shulchan makes it sound like we just do it, yeah, like ruffle through his wallet or something.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Radvaz said, so this is, I don't know if this is a new point, whatever. I read this, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Him Tomar, if you'll say, She'ino rota likach b'toras tzedakah, eich yikach b'toras matana. If you just ask about the case, how can this guy not want to take as tzedakah, but he will take as a gift, Isn't it written that one who hates gifts will live? I mean, I would have said that, like, I don't know why he has to invoke Mishlei for that. But like, I would have said, like, yeah, some people like to be dependent on charity. It's like it's a shameful thing, So he says an interesting answer. He doesn't want to take tzedakah because he doesn't want to like deprive other Aniyim, push other Aniyim aside. If he takes it as matana and he can like tell himself, well, tomorrow I'll have enough money and then I can also give tzedakah, like that is a different psychological category for him. So I think it's just an interesting way to read the case. Yeah.
that just seems like a different case.
Yeah, I mean, halachically it's gonna be the same where the guy doesn't want to accept tzedakah, right? But
it seems like a specific,
psychologically it's a different case.
Every case where this happens, that
I don't think so. Yeah. Like you could have a person who doesn't want to take tzedakah because he's ashamed of what the community will think, or like he doesn't want to be indebted to the guy who's like supplying the tzedakah, a lot of cases. Okay, next halacha, and this gets a bit into what you're saying, Chaim. Misha eno rotze litain tzedakah, someone who doesn't want to give tzedakah, o sheyitin ma'at mima sheroylo, or he gives what less than he is proper for him. Beis Din kofinoso makinoso ad sheyitin. Beis Din has to may force him or forces him and beats him until he gives. Okay, until he gives what they estimate that he should give. V'yordin lenachasav, they can go into his possessions in front of him, and take from his possessions litain, what is proper for him to give. And they can, I always forget the financial term for this, put a lien on his property, like what do you call mashkonify something in English? Mortgage. I mean, that's for, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe mortgage. Can you do mortgage for like objects? I mean,
what is the concept?
Let's see actually if he reads it. Or sorry, if he says it.
Refinancing?
Maybe, yeah.
No,
Oh, that's something else, yeah. Let me finish it. And then, a lien, okay, yeah. But is there no verb for that? Like, you put a lien on it? Lien on, yeah. Okay. Vafilu bar v'shabasas. You could even do it on Erev Shabbos. Okay, so what does this say? So the Makbili says, Kovinoso, Beis Din mechayvim, so Beis Din can compel him. Ach ein kofin es aniyim litain, but they cannot force the poor people to give. That's interesting. I guess I'll say that in a different parak. Okay, shamaduhu litain. He gives what they estimate that he should give. Shehericho shu yachal laseis tzedakah, that they evaluate that he is able to give tzedakah. V'yordin lenechasav nechasim. Nichnasim lenechasav. They go into his property. Could go into l'sadosav. Like into his fields, off even in his presence. Yeah.
I have a couple questions on this all.
All right, so let me finish reading the facts first. They could take a collateral. That was another word I was striving for. Against his will. Also, what?
Is there a different word for collateral?
Maybe security, pledge. I don't know.
No, like I'm saying, like
Mashkon? I think so.
Need something else.
I don't know. In order also, laseis lamaos. In order, I think also means to force him. Halats. Let me just look that up. Lots. No, not here. In order to force him to pay, to give money to tzedakah, then they could return his mashkam. When people are very pressured for time, they as a kleihem lechavot Shabbos, and they need their kelim for chavot Shabbos. So like you go in, you seize all his silverware right before Shabbos, and say you better give tzedakah. You know, like you can do that. Yeah. So what are your questions?
Two questions.
Yeah.
One is
take the lid of his crock pot. Yeah.
It doesn't seem like you need him, like him to be to say like roadside.
Right. Bal krocho. Right.
Because
yeah.
Because it's a mitzvah, right? And if it's supposed to be close.
Well, that's the famous Rambam.
They don't.
Well, the famous Rambam with Gittin, right?
Right.
Yeah, which we can read if we need.
The one,
yeah.
But we're doing Gamusa with her
okay.
But the second question is, why do they smack him until he gives what he can give? Why not smack him until he gives the minimum amount? Meaning, if you only have a certain amount, that's mechuyev.
That's a good question. Right. Meaning the 2.4 grams per year. You mean?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Right. That's a good question. Yeah, like well, in other words, like this. Without Beis Din, I can give as little as 2.4, and I'm considered stingy, but I'm doing my mitzvah.
Right.
So seemingly Beis Din would only be able to come in if I'm not giving that, right? Yeah, that's a very good question. That I'll have to look into. Do you have another question? Yes.
The real mitzvah isn't the 2.4 grams. It's more or less the minimum labor restocking.
Right, but Chaim's question still stands though, right? Which is that
making him seemingly a claim shot and making him do more than the minimum.
Right. In other words, because he did say that the Rambam himself said that there's like different levels, right?
Doesn't the same mean that
really he wants to be more than he really wants to do more than just a minor, that's why.
No, doesn't to say he's still failing the Deoraisa. As in even if he gives that amount, he's still failing the Deoraisa.
He's still failing the Deoraisa?
Yeah.
Not according to the way the Arוך learned it, at least, right? Because the Arוך learned it that these shiurim came in and like were the source of mitzvah.
If you don't match them with the automatic, right? It's not not in the Torah. It's not in like oil.
Yeah.
So it doesn't sound like in a way you're in the minimum amount when it's not what it should be given.
Yeah, that's what Chaim's question is, isn't it?
So,
Meaning,
no, I thought you were saying that if you need the minimum amount, but you have a lot more, you give more, and wanting to know.
No, you're saying that they are allowed to come in, and the question is why, right? Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then just to, on Yossi's point.
Yeah.
If that were true, that it's because he's not fulfilling the some other shear.
Yeah,
Then the Rambam would say until he fulfills that shear. not
Right.
What he says.
exactly. Yeah, that's a very good question. There's got to be someone who takes that up.
But that's Adonai who released on.
It's what?
The other shear would be what the Beis Din says he should go.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it seems like based on his financial level, right? Like Yado. Yeah. All right. So I'll have to look into that question.
Oh, but then on the point you were just saying the Rambam from getting, right?
Yeah.
Though you Dafka need him to say what's on in that case. And like and then they say, oh, well, how does he really want it? Oh, because everybody wants it.
Right. So that might be different because I'm going to answer in a very non-halachic way, but that is his Ma'aseh mitzvah, right? Sorry, that's not even, all right, let me answer in a more non-halachic way. This is like, you owe this money to the Aniyim by justice.
Well, by getting Marusa, it's condemned.
But there's no, I don't know the sugya, but I don't think there's a concept of like I don't think it's a justice thing in terms of.
If a Kohen marries a Grusha.
Oh.
According to the system, he's divorced.
Yeah, but that's a different thing though, right? Because in other words, this is a thing where you have to give. I'm speaking philosophically here, right? But like, you have to supply this money is not really yours. You have to supply it to the creatures who need it via God's will. The money is really not yours in the first place. I don't know how to reconcile this with that, but it does seem like a different thing. Yeah, Yosef?
There's my organization that would begin you have to give the get, whereas here it's based in using its taxing power.
That's also true, right? Yeah, that's also true. Seizing money might be a different thing. Yeah. I want to make one last point before we end today. So when we first started the area, I asked the question, what is the definition of tzedakah? And a lot of people, when I ask that question, people will define it in terms of motivation. Like they'll have some definition that depends on like your motives. And I always use this as a disproof that you can be compelled to give tzedakah. And it's like the guy could be kicking and screaming and you can involuntarily make him give tzedakah, and it still is tzedakah.
You can take his stuff.
You can take his stuff, exactly, yeah. Right, so I think this is just an important thing to keep in mind when you get into these discussions. And then the other thing also, I have no idea who this person is, but a friend of mine quoted someone who apparently is a popular like from Twitter account, Jew in the City. So she said, religious practice that is coerced is not in service of God. And the first halacha I thought of was like this halacha. Like, yeah, really? You're telling me religious service? This is tzedakah, of course. And, like, I don't know what, there's no context here, right? But like, I don't know what context she's saying this in, but like, clearly that's not what, and there are many other examples of this, but this is the first one I thought of. Like, it is tzedakah. You're yotei tzedakah if you are forced to give it, Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is just,
Wait, did you write that?
I'm not going to engage in social media.
Well, let's see what the first thing reply is.
Yeah, I'm not going to get it. Yeah, I saw that though. Okay, all right. So I will try looking into that question. Yeah, sure it is. Judges and officers you shall make for yourselves. God said this. Yeah.
Well, that's not coercion. Anyway.
Well, that's what the purpose of the shotrim is also, though, right? Is to compel people to keep halacha if they're yeah. Okay.
I was gonna say like